throughout the day. Before we get on with our ethanol 20 segment, take a look at this, a terrifying natural disaster that has struck the high altitude region. This is specifically Dharali in Uttarkashi of the state of Uttarakhand, where a massive cloudburst triggered flash floods, leaving a trail of destruction and loss. Himalayan horror, Devbhoomi devastation, a cloudburst catastrophe, a mini tsunami of sorts that brought with it uprooted trees, sludge, mud, debris of all sorts, and pretty much washed away everything in its wake and in its way. The flood waters gushing down with immense velocity from the Khirganga river catchment. It swept away several houses, hotels and homestays in Dharali, which is a very popular stopover en route to the revered Gangotri Dham. Gangotri Dham not very far away from this particular Dharali village. And according to officials, at least 5 people have died, more than 50 remain missing, feared to have been washed away, 10 to 12 people feared trapped under the debris. Eyewitnesses and first responders say nearly 20 to 25 homestays and hotel buildings have been completely washed away, coming down like a pack of cards. A joint rescue operation involving the Indian Army, the ITBP, the State Disaster Relief Force and the National Disaster Relief Force is underway. An army team has also been deployed from the nearby Harsil camp, where multiple ITBP teams from Matli are on the ground as well. And visuals constantly that we've been receiving. Take a look at that. A 1.5 to 2 ton car being swept away by the sheer velocity of this deluge. It shows masses of muddy water and debris rushing through narrow valleys, filling up the entire homes right up to the brim. The central portion of the entire Dharali town has completely been washed away with silt and mud. Take a look at that. Just moments after the initial cloudburst and the flash floods, one person trying to make his way, run for his life. The boulders, rubble, dangerous debris that was brought down with this flash flood. Homes completely reduced to nothing. People left screaming, families trying desperately to contact their loved ones in the affected areas. And in a chilling video, a voice can be heard. Everything is finished. The Prime Minister has also expressed condolences. Several ministers have reacted to this devastating situation, right from the Defence Minister to the Chief Minister of the state, Pushkar Singh Dhami. Union Home Minister Amit Shah also spoke to Chief Minister Dhami and dispatched 7 specialized rescue teams to assist in this mission. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, he said that both the centre and the state government are working in coordination to save lives and provide urgent help. Chief Minister Pushkar Dhami, he termed the disaster extremely painful and said that all departments are working on a war footing to deal with the aftermath. Panic has spread across neighbouring villages as well. Sukhi was hit with a cloudburst as well. So back-to-back, a double whammy for the Himalayan region. The Devbhoomi hit with devastating cloudbursts, one in Dharali village, the other one in Sukhi. Authorities have urged people to remain indoors. Loudspeakers being used by the local administration telling everybody not to venture out even if it is necessary. Roads leading to Gangotri Dham remain cut off due to landslides and debris. Relief camps have been set up as teams now race against time to rescue survivors and provide food, shelter, medical aid to all those that are affected. Well, Voucher News9 to bring you all the latest details. Our ears and eyes peeled down to the ground to get us any sort of information. Rescue operations continue round the clock on a war footing. Let's hope for good sense to prevail. Well, you're watching In Your Interest, and let's drive now straight into our focus segment, into a fuel revolution. But of course, this fuel revolution that is not coming to us without bumps. The spotlight is certainly on India's rapid sprint, the sprint towards greener fuel. The country has met its ambitious target of blending 20% ethanol with petrol 5 years ahead of schedule. called as E20 Petrol. It is now available at 17,400 outlets across the country. A remarkable feat. But this remarkable feat comes with critical questions as well. Is the E20 fuel really safe for your vehicles? There's a lot of cacophony on social media as well. And the center calls E20. The government says this is a win-win for the environment on one side and the economy on the other. It claims that it reduces carbon emissions by up to 65%. It boosts self-reliance by cutting oil imports. The government also says that there is no engine damage if your vehicle is compliant with the E20 norms. But for older ones, what happens for our older vehicles? Minor gasket and rubber part changes. Well, that's it. That's all you got to do. But vehicle owners don't seem to be convinced. And neither are some auto experts. Government says there is only a 1 to 6% mileage drop. And that too very marginal. But some users claim significant fall in mileage, especially in older cars. And studies from ARAI and Michigan confirm that fuel economy does go down when you switch to ethanol-based hybrid fuel. But the MIT Honda study says 20% efficiency boost is also possible, only if the engine is tuned for the E20 fuel. So, is the common man now paying the price for going green? On engine damage and corrosion, the government claims no serious issues, just minor part replacements, that too after 20,000, 30,000 kilometers. But then again, auto manufacturers and mechanics now warn of engine knocking, about rough idling and possible warranty issues as well if the E20 is used in incompatible vehicles. The government also says that the rollout was well coordinated. It was supposed to be a smooth rollout with phases that were planned with car makers and fuel retailers. But reports from across the country show confusion at the fuel pumps and on the road. There is no clear labeling at these filling stations, at least not all of them. No E0, no E5 or E10 options, just like we see in various foreign countries. Pre-2023 era and pre-2023 car owners are using E20 unknowingly. And the result, well, you may ask, vehicles not made for ethanol are suffering silently in the wake of this move. Now, there are clearly benefits of the E20 fuel as well. Let's not completely push them out of the window. We've saved about 1.4 lakh crore rupees in crude oil import bills, and farmers, on the other hand, in that ripple effect of this aspect, have earned about 1.2 lakh crore rupees through ethanol demand. But then again, there's a flip side to this as well. To meet the ethanol demand, India is now importing maize. And despite being cheaper to produce, E20 isn't really cheaper at the pump. So what's the catch really here? The government calls E20 fuel a leap towards cleaner, greener future. But many vehicle owners are asking, at what cost? Is E20 fuel truly safe for your vehicle? Or are we headed towards engine trouble disguised as green progress? Well, let's try and decode that, lay out the semantics on the table. With us on the broadcast, Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director, Energy and Resource Institute. A very warm welcome to you. Professor Bijon Mishra, Consumer Policy Expert, also with us on the broadcast. Raj Kapoor, Senior Automobile Expert and Analyst. And Vinkesh Gulati, former President, Federation of Automobile Dealers Association of India. Before we get down to the nitty-gritties of, policy and its intent, let's talk about economics and about the consumers as well. Mr. Gulati, if I could start with you first and foremost, help the viewers understand, are Indian consumers and car owners, do they really know what this means for their own budget? This fuel switch, what does this mean for their own wallet? Because we're saying transition lacks transparency. Is the consumer educated enough or not? But what is going to be the, the pain point when it comes to the wallet?
So thanks for having me. Frankly, this is a very controversial issue. The government has been talking about E20 fuel for a bit 2-3 years and had been very, very specific. But practically as a customer, I don't think so even customer is aware when we talk of what is E20. Normally methanol, ethanol, these are the words which are used, and customers expect that some mixture is happening. But expecting a 20% mixture of whenever he is buying a petrol, and then too when there is no price difference, if it is not E20 or E05 or E10, that's a major issue. And very frankly, when a vehicle gets in a situation where it goes to the workshop and then workshop starts opening the vehicle and tells him by ki the gasket is not
Right.
accepting the is not working, then he comes to know that whatever he's filling is not the same petrol for which his vehicle was manufactured. And particularly if you see BS6 vehicles which have been just started what 20 around COVID 2020, if I
Right.
talk pre BS6 vehicle, even today we have BS0 vehicle which is flying all over India, maybe not in Delhi, but all over India. And they are not equipped to even have E05 or E10, but they are
Right.
still working and so, because it's so old, nobody's talking about warranty. But anything which is BS4, which has just been sold 5 years back, a customer doesn't expect that because of fuel, his normal gaskets and normal rubber parts will get affected and he'll have to bear the brunt because no dealer,
That
no
to every
manufacturer.
20, 30,000 kilometers. They're going to have
Yeah.
bear the brunt every 20, 30,000 kilometers. And not just that, sir.
And,
There's going to be
and that's not
E20
cheap.
tuning that needs to be done. How can you make sure and, say out unilaterally that everybody has the money to afford an E20 tuning?
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. It's not cheap also. Even for
Okay.
a two-wheeler, he has to pay around 1,000 to 2,000 bucks. It is not small thing because when he bought this vehicle, the vehicle cost him is 60 to 70,000. It's not like he bought a BS6, which is a lakh plus. For a person whose vehicle is 5 months old, for a 5 years old two-wheeler, or even a 5 year old an entry-level car which he has bought at 3 lakh, and he has to pay 5 to 10,000 for getting this tuning done. And obviously, when these gaskets change, another 5 to 10,000. I don't think so. That's an easy thing for a customer to adjust or accept also because practically he's not benefiting with this E20 fuel on his own. Efficiency will go down.
In the long run, mileage is also becoming a problem. You'll have to get yourself fueled even more. And, we were doing an in-house calculation just earlier in the day because everybody is interested about what happens to your own car as well. About 64,000 rupees more for every 1,000 liters. That's the basic calculation that we drew upon. Dr. Dhawan, come in on this. Help the viewers understand. On the Libra scales, you're trying to assess what weighs, higher and more. Environment versus economics. It seems like we're looking towards greener fuel, but there are several gray areas with this greener fuel as well. How does the common man now navigate this? And is this prudent? Is this sound as a move by the government?
See, first of all, use of ethanol for vehicles is not new. Brazil is doing it for many years now, many
Right.
decades before they introduced. Now, E20, as it is said, it is 20% of blending. Any new technology, when it is introduced, there are hiccups. Let's look at, we are importing every drop of fossil fuel. And you also mentioned that even for production of ethanol, we might have to import maize.
Right.
But yes, our productivity over a period of time will go up and we will be able to meet that demand locally. And it's also coming from agriculture residue. So what we are looking at basically is that for the fossil fuels also, we try to have independence or from imports, like we are looking at green. Now, of course, very well said that what it's going to cost to the customer. What we are neglecting, what is the cost to the environment? And environment and your and my health. Now come, like what happens during the month November onwards in Delhi, the first target is vehicles. So we say first ban diesel vehicles and then this vehicle and then all the odd even scheme and so on. So why it is happening? Because of the emissions from the automobile.
Right.
We want to reduce that. Now, what has been said, I totally agree. What we should have is that we should be little sensible in terms of which vehicle we should put E20 fuel. It should not be open to all the vehicles, and customers should also have a choice. Like today, I have a choice whether I want to fill unleaded petrol or I want to use.
But at many of those fueling
petrol.
stations, ma'am, at many of those fueling stations, doctor, there is no option. You only have the option of the E20 fuel. And just like, sir was just talking and telling us, it's when the gasket changes happen. If when those rubber parts and the changes for those rubber parts are required, that's when the consumer and the owner gets to know that, hey, I've been putting the wrong kind of fuel in my engine.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, because we are first introducing. So we should be very fair to the customer. And we should say that they should have choice to buy E20. And maybe some sort of subsidy can also be provided to begin with, so that we get used to E20. There is direct benefit to the customer rather than only the indirect benefit of environment and health. So that way it will be popularized, because I have to get used to. There are many things which it's fear of unknown. What's going to happen to my car?
Nobody likes change,
Have I even run 30,000 kilometers? The answer is no. How bad, in which cars it's going to go bad? I have no answer to it today. And the tests which have been done does not prove that to that an extent, because yes, fuel efficiency and all, we do have studies which shows that there is going to be a marginal decline, and that is where it is that customers should be compensated for that decline as well.
But is the customer being compensated, ma'am? Because we also tried to, and there's a Karnataka example here. I'm going to ask the control room to put that graphic out if that's possible. See, by a basic assessment of math, if 20% less fuel, petrol is being used, then shouldn't the cost also come down? I mean, the breakup suggests that we're still paying about 100 rupees, but when we should actually be paying somewhere about 80 to 85 rupees with the VAT, with the state added, state VAT and, the base price, all of those calculations taken into account, you're using 20% less fuel. Shouldn't the cost price also go down? Professor Mishra, consumer policy expert with us on the broadcast. I'll come back to you, ma'am. I'll come back to you. Let's go across the table once. We've got Professor Bijon Mishra, consumer policy expert. Sir, why do the critics have any moral standing, any weightage in their particular arguments when they say this is more about policy optics rather than actual ground impact? The consumer out there feels that he's been burdened with the compliance and there's no sort of value addition that is being done with this E20.
Yeah, Tabir, absolutely right. What we all need to understand that you have thrown a lot of figures where the farmers got some 1 lakh crore benefit. Government is getting, in terms of import of crude oil substitution, vagera,
Right.
My bottom line is, how does it reflect to my purchasing? How much does it trickle down in terms of me getting fuel at a cheaper cost?
Yep.
I don't get an answer to that. And nobody answers me that. And as a consumer, I have the right to know that if you have made this kind of money, where is it going? Is it only going to the oil industry or is it taxes to the government? Because till now, as you know, all the states have the highest taxation on petroleum products in terms of retailing.
Right.
And what we also need to understand is that in order to make it popular, see, first of all, let me congratulate, the scientists who have been able to get to their target much before time. So I would definitely like to congratulate the team which has been able to make India go green. And that is a great achievement, let me tell you. As a consumer, I have always said science and technology should be an enabler to the consumer, not a burden. Now here, as my panel members and you also gave in your introduction, it is becoming a suspicion that am I going to incur more expenditure?
Absolutely.
By this kind of a fuel which is coming in, where we are claiming that it is going to help the environment. Now, we are all as consumers very, very sensitive towards the environment. We want that the environment should be well protected. But we should also become a stakeholder in that.
Absolutely. I want my economic environment to be protected as well. My environment at home needs to be protected as well. Mr. Gulati earlier in the discussion was talking about warranty. I mean, if I keep on pumping E20 fuel and I actually get the material corrosion on my engine way after my warranty gets expired, what happens then? Do I go into litigation? Is there a tribunal for that? Is there an appellate tribunal for that? These are all questions that have now come to the fore. Mr. Raj Kapoor also with us on the broadcast. He's a senior automobile expert and an analyst. Mr. Kapoor, help us understand on record what the auto companies are trying to say off record. Is this a rush transition? What is the automobile industry saying at this point in time? Because they're certainly divided. Many suggesting that yes, there is some sort of scientific backing as to what the government is saying, and the government, on the other hand, saying that there is no scientific, backing to all of those claims that are doing rounds on social media. What is the automobile industry here saying?
So the interesting part is that the auto industry is not saying anything officially. It's saying that the cars are E20 compliant. Now, science or physics says that the energy value of ethanol is less than fuel or gasoline. So by default, what it means is that you will have to burn more fuel to achieve the same result. So when you burn more fuel, it's obvious that your fuel efficiency will come down in terms of number of kilometers to liters burnt. Now, that is not being addressed or not being said officially anywhere. And that is what is of concern, that the agencies or the national agencies that certify should give this information credibly, saying that this is what is going to happen, not that there is no change. At the same time, ethanol or ethyl alcohol is cheaper to make than fossil fuel gasoline. So there should be some benefit, and that
Absolutely.
should be the choice of the consumer. That do I want to save that 10 rupees and take this call, or do or I'm forced to do what the government says it should be done. So that is where the dichotomy lies.
All right. Dr. Dhawan, let me come back to you. You see, 53,000 crore rupees that have been saved ever since 2014. And just like those numbers that I pointed out as well, farmers getting, reaping benefit. Our imports have gone down. So our energy security sees a rise over here as well. But do you think consumers are paying for eco-compliance without having any options? I mean, to the layman out there, these numbers don't mean anything. What means is that how much money are they able to save at the end of the month?
Sure. No, see, what we have to look into in totality, what are the benefits? The benefits, or rather, we always say polluters should pay. And that is repeatedly what I'm saying is that vehicular pollution is a big problem. Why we are shifting towards ethanol is cleaner fuel. We can't tell, we are also moving towards EV. So the whole idea is that we have to run cars, how clean, how green it can be. Let's also look at, even today, the production cost of ethanol is very high. And as we will develop the technology further, and because you require enzymes and so on for ethanol conversion from agriculture residue, the prices will come down as the volume goes up. And the two things have to go in parallel. One is the ethanol blending, and the second is the engine design and how much that can take. And E20, really speaking, it's going to go further. It's not that we are going to stop at 20% blending. We are going to go and increase it further in years to come. And that requires modification in the engine. What is required, perhaps, according to me, is that consumers should have a choice. Because it is somewhere, or maybe there can be a further taxation on 100% petrol, and you say that it is for cleaning the environment. And this becomes comparatively cheaper, and that will give incentive to the user, because ultimately we have to care for our lungs as well. We want to breathe better air, and therefore we don't have many options than to shift towards E20 or blending of ethanol in petrol in years to come.
It is the need of the hour, Doctor. Certainly. I mean, the numbers are right in front of us, and polluters should definitely pay up. But the idea is that, is the rollout smooth enough? It's great that we've been, able to achieve this target way before schedule. But were we ready for this implementation? That's the bigger question that we do need to ask here as well. Mr. Gulati, former President, Federation of Automobile Dealers Associations of India, who bears the long-term cost of engine tuning or fuel system changes? Just like Doctor told us, in the coming years, this is going to be E30, then E40, then E50. So the engines continuously keep on going through these tunings. And who pays for these tunings? How much does it cost today? If I want to take my car tomorrow to get an E20 tuning done on the engine, how much will it cost me?
So, very frankly, I agree to ma'am. This is the need of the hour, but we have to understand all the BS6 engines which have been coming in from 2020 they are better engines. I'm not saying they are E20 compliant or not, or E30 compliant, but they are better engine. But think about the people, the entry level vehicle owners, the poor, I'll not say poor, or the middle class, who own older vehicle. For them, this is big burden. Every time they go for tuning, if a two-wheeler, it needs 2 to 3,000. If it is a four-wheeler, depending upon the car quality, goes from 10,000 to 50,000. And then this also doesn't ensure that your gasket and rubber items won't go faster. You won't need to replace faster, because a dealer or a repairer can't change your engine quality which was made 5 years back.
Yep.
Whatever he do, he'll try to retune it to the best of what that engine can take. And now if you are driving a BS2 or a BS3 vehicle, don't expect that any repairer or a workshop can tune it to the level of BS6 so that you don't have to bear maintenance cost major. So this cost will continue as a huge thing. And it's not good, because the entry level customer, or the people who buy second hand vehicle, those are the normal Indians.
Right.
And this kind of burden is not good. So like she suggested, it's better we have a 2 category of fuel at every station, with some difference of the
There needs to
amount.
be options. We need to have options. Earlier, Mr. Misra pointed out towards Brazil. I think one of the other panelists also spoke about Brazil. They have E100 also, but those are for specialized vehicles. And there is great consumer education as well. On that note, we've completely run out of time here. Dr. Dhawan, many thanks for joining us here. Professor Misra, Mr. Kapoor, and Mr. Gulati. I think the advent of greener fuel is great, it's welcome, but the rollout has to be more smoother, and the grey areas need to turn greener before people can actually get convinced and get happy and adapt with the idea of a greener fuel. The polluter must be punished, but not like this, not with so much confusion. Well, we're going to slip into a quick commercial breather here. Top developments right on the other side. Many thanks for watching in your interest. एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर एंकर टूथपेस्ट, नए जमाने की नई सुरक्षा।
बढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कर